train is running.
And I'll say Evan.
That's good. You're sore, but I don't have to.
It's a win. Yeah.
And we won. It was amazing.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Fins Talk. Today, I'm your host, Bobby Fins Talk, and that right there is the one and only Fish Tank Hank, who's on location. Where, Fish Tank?
We are at the Hideaway Bar today, Bobby. It's a nice setting here. Got a bunch of nice people. They just finished up with soccer. Unfortunately, we didn't win.
USA is out. Lost to the Netherlands.
Out.
Was it 3-1? Last I checked, it was 3-1.
3-1.
All right,
Yes,
well, there
sir.
you go. All right, moving on to other things. Steve, good to see you, brother. Ender, great to see you. Everyone tuning in, whether you're Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. I appreciate you watching Fins Talk today on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Like, subscribe, and always Fins up. Lot to talk about. Very exciting major game tomorrow. Fish Tank. The 8-3
Yes, sir.
Dolphins go against the 7-4 San Francisco 49ers. Both teams on win streaks. Hank enjoyed some nice wings this afternoon. Loving it. So, the 7-4 Niners are on a 4-game win streak. The Dolphins are on a 5-game winning streak. The Dolphins are the second seed in the AFC. They might be second now in the East right now until they win tomorrow. And Niners, I believe, are first in their division. So major game, which I think may be a Super Bowl preview if it continues the way it's going. I let Fish Tank continue to eat. We don't know. Armstead, who was supposedly out with a pectoral injury, he did make the trip. He may play tomorrow, which would be huge. Austin Jackson is out, but I'm not really, that doesn't bother me as much. What's up, Dolphins Thirsty? But
What's up, Thirsty? I'm
Hankster,
thirsty, too.
yeah, thirsty for Dolphins content. Go to dolphinsthirsty.com. Plug. Hankster.
Yes, sir.
With Taron Armstead, and maybe Thirsty could confirm, and one of the guys here tuning in, is he officially out for tomorrow? Do we
Hey,
know that?
I don't do that stuff. I'm just saying he's out. I don't neither confirm nor deny. I don't have any
Here's
thoughts.
a better question for you. We know how important the quarterback is to the Miami Dolphins. The quarterback position with Tua at quarterback. We know that's important.
Yeah.
But we definitely, what's as important, especially with this offense, is Taron Armstead.
Yes.
If he, for me, I'll ask you for your official. Oh, thank you, Dolphins Thirsty. He says no official word, but I know our goal is to win games, get to the playoffs. But obviously, the Dolphins' offense, when Armstead has come out, has taken a step back. It happened last week, and it happened against the Bengals some weeks back, and it got Tua hurt. He's very important. You want him to be in there because you want to protect your quarterback. But long term, would you rather see him tomorrow? Would you rather him take tomorrow off? We know it's huge if he does, but take tomorrow off, get healthy, be ready for the playoffs. What would you do if you're in Mike McDaniel's position?
I'd rest him.
Yes.
I'd rest him.
agree.
And the reason I tell you that is with the pectoral, you're just going to make it worse. Give the guy a little bit of time. Let things calm down. Find out exactly how it is. he might be able to take a shot or something and then go play next week.
Yeah.
But why push it this week? You can always have a tight end or Ingold or somebody running a chip on Bosa or whoever you're concerned about. So I'm not really concerned about the rest of them.
Yeah, and to me, I agree with you. I know this is a huge game for Miami. They want to get 6 straight. They want to continue, excuse me, take the lead in the East, take the 2nd seed. They're chasing the Chiefs. We're going to talk about that. But I think it's more important to protect one of your star players, an important player like Armstead, because you see how that offensive line gels for the long term this season rather than the short term tomorrow's game. I understand the competitor in him wants to play just like Tua would, but sometimes you got to protect the player from himself. But we'll see. It's a important game, but again, you got to think long term rather short term. And then, of course,
I'm there with the protect part. I much rather him take that time that he needs. Like I said, there's other ways of protecting Tua, especially being it's not his blind side.
Evan in the house, host of the Fins bandwagon. No, you're absolutely right. And that's up to the coaching staff. They have a week. They know he might be out. How do they scheme to protect that side of the football or protect against Bosa, who is the number 1 pass rusher in the NFL? He has a 30. He's leading the league in quarterback hits with 30, the most. It's going to be a big time. They're going against the number 1 defense, so you got to scheme the right way. Student against teacher. Debo might be out. That's a huge part of their offense. Armstead on their side, defensive tackle, may be out. So there's a lot of missing pieces on both sides. Max protection, absolutely. So we both agree that we would sit Armstead for this game to protect him and have him long term, because we know Dolphins going into the playoffs. Win, lose, or draw tomorrow, Miami's going to the playoffs. Protect yourself so you can be available. So you're saying, let me ask you this. How big of a loss for tomorrow is this for Miami? You talked about putting Ingold there. You talked about putting maybe one of the tight ends. But how big of a loss is this? Because I think we both know.
This is a huge loss. This
Yes,
is
sir.
a huge loss at a horrible time. He anchors everything, and not only is he the anchor, but he's the captain up there, Yeah. He's getting everybody to be where they're supposed to be. He's showing them how to challenge for real stake in a game. And I think he takes it seriously just by look at the fact that he wants to play whether he's hurt or not. And like you said, you got to protect the player from himself. So I think that's needed. And remember, I'm coming to you folks from the Hideaway Bar in Orlando. This is the home of the Dolphins of Orlando Club.
That's absolutely right. Hank is on location. That's why you see the umbrella on top of him. He's enjoying some chicken wings. He's having a good time. And watching USA lose to the Netherlands. I apologize for my cough. Evan, I see you in the comments. I hope your daughter is feeling better, sir. He says, nobody knows DeMarco Ryans D better than McD. That's absolutely true. The Dolphins have staff in place, Wes Welker, Embry, McDaniel. They know that defense. They know that football team. It's going to be a good matchup tomorrow.
Well, I told you weeks ago that Miami has an advantage, but nobody listens to me. That's all right. Everybody's going to be wrong in the end.
But, what we both said, we had 2 games on this stretch that we said that I have a cough. I'm dealing with a cough, so I'm a little congested, all that. I'm feeling fine. It just won't go away. Thirsty. Thank you. What I'm saying is we both, though, said, now everybody's kind of catching on. A few weeks ago, we were talking about this matchup and the matchups to come. It was the Niners, not the Chargers, the Niners and the Bills. That were the 2 teams where we go, those are the 2 teams that we would, for the rest of the schedule, that we're really concerned with, and also the AFC East teams. But this is why this is such a big game, and that's why it is a big loss for me for Armstead, because as much as important as Tua is, Armstead is definitely important. I think he's more important to the Dolphins than he ever was for the Saints. So
absolutely,
absolutely. You've seen him before earlier in the season when he's telling Tua, calm down, relax, don't rush. And it's such a huge veteran presence. What he has done with Tyreek Hill has been amazing. So it is a big loss, but you have to hope that Coach McDaniel could scheme to protect the quarterback. Let's see. and fans should be concerned. In my opinion, should fans be concerned about Tua tomorrow? You would hope that they scheme correctly to protect him. I'm concerned. I am concerned. But you know what's different about the Bengals game than it was about the San Francisco game, Hank?
I'm concerned, but I'm no more concerned than any other quarterback that's missing their left tackle. How's that?
That's fair. But
because people say, "Oh, it's Tua. He can't be missing somebody." Yes, he can. He can be missing somebody because he's faster at reading the defenses than everybody else. That's why. He's quicker at getting the ball out than everybody else.
He's had training, right? He's had training to have a bad offensive line where he has to throw quickly. He's one of the fastest release in football, and he has grown as a quarterback in order to adjust to that, and we hope that translates into tomorrow. But my thing was, here's the difference between the Bengals game and the game tomorrow. The Dolphins didn't have a running game in the Bengals game. They have a running game now. Now, offensive line may impact that. We could Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert have a chip on their shoulder, as does Trent Sherfield, to make a game tomorrow. So that's something that impacts tomorrow as well. Go here. Let's move on, and then we'll get into the final stretch here. Talk about the 49ers, our predictions, and all that. Let's talk about how the Miami Dolphins could chase or could catch the Kansas City Chiefs for the number 1 seed. Currently, the Dolphins sit at the 2nd seed. I know they played they had the Bills game, but I'm talking about Dolphins sit at the 2nd seed. They've been going up and down, but they keep keeping that win streak going. How can Miami catch them? So we know the Miami Dolphins.
I got an answer to that
already.
Yeah.
All right, go.
I'm quick. I'm telling you, I'm awfully quick, Bobby.
Yeah.
Look, it all comes down to one thing: is Kansas City going to lose another game? And my answer to that is probably not. But I believe Miami is going to drop one. I said 13-4, and I still believe Miami's going to drop one before the end of the season.
Yeah.
And the surprise to everybody out there should be the fact that I'm going to tell you, don't worry about the Niners. Don't worry about the Bills. Worry about the Chargers. That's who you should be worried about. You know why?
Ooh.
Because Miami Dolphins are going to go in and battle the 49ers and have a rough day. But they're going to pull out the win, okay? We'll discuss the score later. But then after that win, then you're going to have issues because you're going to have a bunch of tired guys that just fought their best game. And you're going to need your best game to keep up with the scoring of the Chargers. So I'm concerned more about the Chargers than I am about the Niners. But also, I don't know the weather condition for the Bills yet. So I can't discount that game either.
Sure.
So, but my biggest concern is right now is the Chargers game.
The Chargers game. So it switched. And watching these games the last few weeks, watching these football teams, because a few weeks ago we were talking about the Niners, we were talking about Buffalo, and you brought up the Jets or the Patriots, excuse me. Now it's like, no, wait a second. The team that I'm really concerned that you're concerned with in this stretch is the Chargers, and it makes kind of sense. Because it's not more that the Chargers are better than Miami because of health and all that other whatnot. It's more about the fight they're going to have to put against the 49ers this week. So
absolutely.
Okay, I get. You know what? And Evan, I know you disagree, brother. Go ahead and put your comments in there. I'm concerned with all 3 of these road games. It's going to be a huge test for the Dolphins. These road games, absolutely, it will be. It starts tomorrow. The chase for the 1st seed, which might be wishful thinking, but it starts tomorrow against the 49ers, and Hankster thinks they may drop one game. Chiefs may not. Let's look at who the Chiefs face, and let's just say who we think they might have a shot at losing at. They face the Bengals, Denver, Houston, Seattle, Denver again, and Vegas. None of those teams jump out at you and go, oh, that could be a matchup. Cincinnati has a winning record. Who knows? They might sneak one out. But Denver's struggling with Russell Wilson. Houston, Seattle is doing well with Geno, but they've taken a step back so far. Denver and Vegas, obviously, Houston is nowhere. But those 2 other teams at the end, they don't do. But the reason why Denver, both times, and Vegas have a shot to upset the Chiefs is they're in the division. Nobody knows the Chiefs better, just like nobody knows the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills, and those teams in that East division. Nobody knows the Chiefs better than those West division teams. So there could be an upset, maybe not two, but there might be an upset in that schedule that might get a step back. You know, we got to hope that Chiefs lose a game and the Dolphins could win all of them. But we know realistically that Miami may drop one or two in this stretch coming up.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they drop one or two. I mean, I see how they can navigate and win them, but I still think out of the games that they have to play and who they're playing against, they're not going to really have a choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we look at Miami's schedule coming up with the 49ers, Chargers, Bills, Packers, Patriots, Jets. And then you got the the Chiefs. You look at Miami's and the Chiefs and you go, Chiefs probably have a little more easier. Obviously, strong team, easier schedule. But Dolphins, Thirsty brought it up. He said the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Chiefs last year. The playoffs obviously get to the Super Bowl. We know that, So could they do it again? Or do the Chiefs smack them around and say, we owe you one? Could happen, But there is a chance Kansas City could drop some teams. It's up to Miami starting tomorrow, if they could, to start just continue to win football games. So let me ask you this, yes or no. Do you think the Dolphins have a legitimate chance at the number one seed in the playoffs, or is that just wishful thinking?
That's just wishful thinking, Bobby. I don't think so. I seriously doubt it. I'll tell you why. I just don't see Kansas City dropping one. Who are they going to drop one to?
That's fair. I agree with you. I look at it's hard. You can make an argument, but you look at these football teams that they're facing, you can see Miami dropping a couple, but you can't see the Chiefs doing it. The Chiefs are what they are. Thirsty thinks wild card is more realistic. I agree with that. I think home field advantage is very important. My thing is, do we want Miami to have a bye week? Would we want them to? I don't know if I would. We'll see how they respond. They had a bye week this week. How they respond against San Francisco. And then I guess that would answer us. But sometimes it's better for a team not to take a bye and just continue week after week. Hank,
where are you at again? Here.
Tell everybody where you're at and what that place is. What's going on there?
I'm at the Hideaway Bar right now. And you can come here and meet nice people like this. And have some drinks. Have a good time. They just finished a soccer game. But we all know the real game's tomorrow night.
That's right. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central. I'm looking forward
to the game tomorrow night.
So, let's go here. And again, everyone tuning in, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you're watching the Fins Talk today on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Smash that like and subscribe button. As we now move on, we're talking about how the Dolphins could catch the Chiefs. Doesn't matter what we say. It starts tomorrow with the San Francisco 49ers. They are the 10th best offense in the NFL and the number one defense in the NFL. Dolphins have the number 3 offense in the NFL, trending up, and they have the 17th defense in the NFL, which is also trending up. Defense is catching up to the offense. It's still 17-3, but it's a good sight to see, especially when you get to the playoffs with the Bradley Chubb trade. So it's one game at a time. Starts tomorrow against the 49ers. Let's go over some of these very quick, Hank, and then we'll get into keys of the game predictions. We're at the 20-minute mark coming up. The Dolphins are winners of 5 straight. They have beaten the Steelers, the Lions, the Bears, the Browns, and the Texans. The 49ers are winners of 4 straight. They have beat the Rams, the Chargers, the Cardinals, and the Saints. Tua this season, it has MVP caliber season, the way he's played, the eye test, he's passing everything. 69.7% completion percentage, 2,564 yards, 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 115.7 quarterback rating. Garoppolo this season, 67.4% completion percentage, 2,381 yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 103 rating as a quarterback. both quarterbacks. And Garoppolo, they were trying to put Trey Lance, didn't work out. They just lost in the NFC Championship this past season. They said, no, we're going to go with Lance this year. Garoppolo will be the backup. Smart decision. They brought him back because now they're on 4-game win streak. Garoppolo is having a very good season so far. They shut out the Saints, who have the 15th best offense and the 11th best defense. You could see when, again, we know the eye test. We know who's the better quarterback or the one with more talent. But you look at these numbers, not so different. Obviously, Tua's higher, but you can see where McDaniel has that effect on Tua, where now Tua's really protecting the football. He's making smart decisions. Only 3 interceptions on the season, and Shanahan has the same thing going with Garoppolo. How do you feel about Garoppolo tomorrow against the Dolphins defense?
I think he's in for a long day. And the reason I tell you that is it's a simple strategy. Miami's defense is coming on strong at the right time. And they're continuing to get after the quarterback. And another big part of the 49ers game is their run game. They rely heavily on that run game. And Miami's defense has been stopping the run and controlling the game through stopping the run. Obviously, you can't keep up with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, they can't keep up with them all day. And you know that they're just going to drive it down the field. So I'm not concerned about the 49ers still, once again. You're talking about Bosa. I'm not worried about Bosa because, like I said, you can chip him with Ingold or use a tight end, Smythe over there, somebody. You got to give max protection to Tua, but he's going to get it out quick. And those things are a nightmare for the other side, which McDaniel knows that team inside and out. Player strengths, weaknesses, everything. They don't know that much about the Miami Dolphins. There's no way they know as much about Miami as McD knows about them. So I think that's a huge advantage right now.
Well, what's fair, that's true. What is fair, though, they might not know much about Miami and the defense, but they do know McDaniel. Shanahan has taught McDaniel. They know Wes Welker. They know Embry. They know Sherfield. They know Wilson. They made a mistake trading Wilson because they lost Elijah Mitchell. Christian McCaffrey, as great as he is, he's injury prone. You're absolutely right. They rely on that running game, but Debo might not be there tomorrow. I think he's out. They're going to protect him like Armstead with the Dolphins. McCaffrey is, I don't know if he's doubtful or questionable. Thirsty, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Committed to the network, committed to the Dolphins, committed to Fish Tank. I wouldn't miss it. Oh, I could do this and rest up after.
Yeah, you gave me all them fancy numbers, Bobby, but you got to also remember the 49ers, they might be first in defense, but look who they've been playing. They've been playing a bunch of nobodies. They've been beating up a bunch of nobodies like they're supposed to.
Yeah,
so of course they're 10th.
Yeah, but that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not a fair thing.
That's
no, it's
totally
not.
fair.
Dolphins,
look at the records of those teams that
look
they
at the
played.
Dolphins. Look at the Dolphins record. Of
yeah,
the teams
look at the
they've been playing.
Dolphins. The Dolphins played the Bills.
Yeah, no, but
let's
talk about
look at the records of the teams we played compared to them.
Hey, Steelers.
It's not apples to apples.
Hold on a second. The Dolphins are 5 games. The San Francisco 49ers are 4 games. You win against the games you're supposed to beat. The Dolphins have shown growth, and they beat Buffalo. They've beaten the Ravens, which the Ravens have taken a step back. But, that argument, I know, I get what you're saying. But, again, you look at the games the Dolphins beat, the teams. The Steelers, 4-7 right now. The Lions, they beat 16-10. They won from an Igbo interception. They were 4-7. The Lions, 31-27, 4-7. The Bears, 3-9. The Browns, 4-7. The Texans, 1-9. The Rams, this is down to 49ers, 3-8. The Chargers, 6-5. The Cardinals, 4-8. The Saints, 4-8. None of those teams, you look at that and you go, we can't really say, but they haven't really beat anybody. Dolphins, they beat the Bills early in the year, but this is the second half of the season, 5 games in. It's still similar. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Good teams beat the teams they're supposed to win. You're on mute, Hankster. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. You know what, Bobby? This game is going to be the game that proves who the poser is. It's either going to be the Dolphins or it's going to be the Niners. And I think it's going to be the Niners. Okay?
The Niners are
After
more
this game, because they have the Niners
I don't know
listed
if
as
that's
the third best team in power rankings. So after Miami beats them, and then they're ahead of Buffalo like they should have already been in the power rankings because they had them below Buffalo also. So my point is, if Miami wins this game against 49ers, it's going to shut everybody up. Finally, they'll be quiet. They won't have a choice.
Well, you're beating
if the
Dolphins beat the Niners tomorrow, right? If they do it, you beating a legitimate Super Bowl contending football team. Despite what people want to say about Trey Lance and everything. This team last year lost in the NFC Championship. 2019, they lost in the Super Bowl. This team has been knocking on the door, and now they're starting to get hot again. You know, their quarterback is not making mistakes. The offense is what it is. 10th best offense with Debo, etc. Now they got Christian McCaffrey. Defense wins championships. You always hear that. Defense is number one in the league. I agree with you. Miami, if they win tomorrow, they just beat a Super Bowl contending team. They're here. A lot of people are saying they're already here. That's why I say it's a legitimate 8-3 football team. If the Dolphins lose tomorrow, it will not tell me the Dolphins are a poser. It won't say that. You know, if Miami loses tomorrow, it won't say a poser. I know where San Francisco stands because of recent history and where they're trending. But the Dolphins are not a poser, win, lose, or draw tomorrow. They're still a contending football team. You know, it just shows that, hey, if they face this team in the Super Bowl, then they're going to kick their ass and win the game. But I get what you're saying. You're absolutely right. It's a very important game tomorrow. If Miami wins, it's going to shut a lot of pundits up about if Miami's for real, because there's a lot of people that still doubt him, even though now they're coming to the forefront and going for him. You're right, because San Francisco is a Super Bowl contending football team. They've been there. They haven't won it, but they've been there. So you're right, but my only disagreement with you is that, you know, it's just that if Miami does lose tomorrow, I don't think that doesn't make them a pretender. Just shows that San Francisco is one up on them. They just have to get them back.
Yeah, well, we're about to find out, and I still say pretender.
If they lose. Okay. We'll talk. If Miami loses, you and I are going to talk next week. Okay.
Because I know Miami's going to beat the Niners. That's why.
I know where you're going. Cat for Life wants to know what you're eating, Fish Tank.
I'm eating wings. I also have a meatball sub. There's Parmesan cheese. There's mozzarella. The wings are hot because that's the way I like them. A little bit of celery and carrots, of course. And, you know, blue cheese. You got to have blue cheese.
That's fair. Thirsty says, Rob says that tomorrow will not prove Miami is a pretender if they lose. The next 3 games will prove if they are pretenders, if they lose out of this lineup. Evan says, Dolphins, they like to play better teams. Tua knows what's at stake the next 3 weeks. Absolutely right, Evan. This is going to show where the Dolphins stands. These 3 games coming up, you might think Packers as well, depending how they do the next 3 weeks. But these next 3 games will show where our Miami stands, because when they get in the playoffs, we don't want to be one and done. Well, I think what made Dolphins pretenders is if they would have lost to the Steelers, if they would have fell to the Lions or the Bears. Then we'd have been like, yeah, you know, they could have beat those teams. But the Dolphins beat those teams. And it's like, oh, but they only beat the Lions, the Bears, the Steelers. You're supposed to beat those teams. Great teams, good teams are supposed to beat the bad teams. And Miami has done that. So that's that. On the Dolphins side, we talked about the Niners, about where they stand first in the NFL in regards of defense. Nick Bosa, 30 quarterback hits, which is number 1 in the NFL. It's a very dangerous defensive football team. The Dolphins are trending up. They're 17th. But let's talk about Miami. The Dolphins, against the Lions, Bears, Browns, Texans, have now scored 30 points. Wasn't like that at the beginning of the year, Fish Tank. We talked about it. This offense was highly rated. People were going crazy, whatever. They weren't scoring no more than 30 points. They've done it the last few weeks. They did it, though, against the 32nd best defense in the Lions, the 20th defense in the Bears, the 18th defense against the Browns, and the 29th defense in the Texans. They face the number 1 defense tomorrow. Under Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins are putting up the 6th most points per game this season with 25.6.
They face the number 1 by the numbers defense tomorrow, but I don't think they're the number 1 defense at all.
Who's the number one defense?
Now there's no
Miami Dolphins.
Look, go wild.
Okay. Anyway,
Look,
the
you want
Dolphins are putting up.
realistic. Watch how Miami comes on tomorrow. Watch what happens.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be a Garoppolo beating.
Yeah. Under Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins are putting up the 6th most points per game this season, 25.6. Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are both over 900 yards this season. Hill all the way up to 1,200 yards in only 11 games. The defense, the 49ers, which Hank says is not the number one defense, has yet to allow a second half point since week 7. That will change tomorrow. They led the league in terms of points allowed at 15 points per game. So, Fish Tank, everyone watching Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, thank you. You're watching Fitz Talk today on the Fitz Talk Network. Hank enjoyed some very good chicken wings, hanging out, was watching the USA versus Netherlands game. So he's tuning in from there, which is really cool. You've already said you believe the Dolphins will win tomorrow. So what are your 3 keys to victory for the Dolphins' secure victory, sir?
You must max protect for Tua. That's
true.
Utmost. You've got to keep that man upright. Second key is the dynamic duo of Hill and Jalen Waddle. They're going to blow it up tomorrow. I believe Miami can run, believe it or not, against Bosa's side. Let Bosa come around that corner. As he comes around the corner, run the running back right in between him and the guard. Do it all day long if you have to, till he starts biting. Then go deep. But the second key of the game is you've got to get somebody on Bosa. You got to get 2 hats on one, or it's all over. You don't want Tua becoming hamburger meat. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And the third key to Miami winning is going to be defense. Defense is going to swarm Garoppolo and just smash his face in the ground, all right? I hope they do it really good. I hope that there's imprints of him left in the turf as they walk by. That's how I feel about this 49ers game.
You know, man, you should be on that staff. I think you had some good points right there, my brother. And how you could attack that 49ers defense. You could and protect to it. That is the number one key right there. You know, we could argue against it. We could pretend it's not a problem, but we know it's going to be a situation where it's going to be scary tomorrow if you do not protect Tua. You know, give him just a little bit of time if Armstead is not there. Like you said, which I believe McDaniel is, rookie coach or not, you have to scheme to protect against Bosa.
If he gets 3 seconds, he's going to tear him up, bro. He's going to tear him up.
Yeah. And also, one of the things I like, and you're right, it's, actually, Widgate was buried up. Get them on their toes early. Open up with some big plays. Test that secondary in regards of offense against their defense. You said give them at least 3 seconds. You could give them 2.68. With the rate the 2 has been trained, because we were complaining about it last year. But this year, it's why he's highly regarded. He gets the ball out quick. Keep him on his toes. Get Sherfield, who I think is going to have an impactful game tomorrow. Sherfield, who could have an impactful game. Tyreek Hill, Waddle. Get them downfield, test that defense, and then, of course, hopefully, with Mozart and Wilson in the game, whether the offensive line is put together or not, get them to run the ball. You got to keep them on their toes. And then, secondly, rattle Garoppolo, force him to make a mistake. And the Dolphins do not make a mistake. Protect the football. Do not leave points on the field. Those are my keys to victory for the Dolphins. So, Hankster, we know your prediction. You have the Dolphins winning tomorrow, sir. What's your score?
Yes, sir. I'll tell you what. I told somebody what the score was going to be, and it slipped my mind, but I'm going to tell you now what the score is going to be.
Okay.
37-29 Miami.
You have a high-scoring game.
Yep, because Miami scores 30 points or more in the past 5 games.
Okay. All right. I have it a lot closer. I think this will be a defensive game, not an offensive game. And you know how everybody, you know how I am. I know Steve's with me. I know Steve's in, but I think the Dolphins will drop it tomorrow. I hope I'm wrong. I think either way, whether the Dolphins win or lose, it's going to be a very close game. But I have it 24-21 San Francisco. Defensive game. Miami drops it tomorrow. That's my prediction for tomorrow.
You have that Miami's losing.
24-21. Dolphins fall tomorrow.
Go ahead, everybody. Tear him up because you know he's wrong.
Well, you just said the Dolphins score more. You said 39-27 or 37-29.
37-29.
Thank you. And you scored at 30 points the last 5 games. That's not against a number 1 defense or even a top 5 defense. That's against
I'm just saying they're going to score 7 more points.
No, but you're saying they scored 37 points on the number 1 defense in the NFL. The Chiefs did that. The Chiefs scored over 30 points, and the Dolphins are close to the Chiefs' offense, so that could be fair. I ain't going to rate too much on it.
I just saying the number 1 defense. They're only number 1 because of who they played.
They're number 1 because of the numbers. It's fact, Hank. You go to NFL, you go to ESPN, you go to everybody else, they're the number 1 defense. You can pretend that the Dolphins are number 1 defense, but that's your fandom, and that's fair. Fandom, realistic fandom. They're number 1 defense. It's going to be a tough test for Miami.
You're going to regret those words after tomorrow's game, bro. Because
I hope so.
They're not going to look like a number 1 defense.
23-20 John. John has a 23-20 Dolphins. That's a fair one. I love that. 23-20 San Fran, Steve Malloy. Dolphins Thirsty has a 2017, but thin ice with Dolphins Thirsty. Evan has a 27-17. Love that. That's high for me too, though, Evan, but I know where Evan's coming from. But John, close. I think it's going to be a very close game. Like I said, if Miami wins, I don't see some big scoring thing. I see a very close football game tomorrow. And if the Dolphins score 37 points against the Niners, there's no way they lose against the Chargers because there's no fight. That's a blowout. That's not a fight. So there's a little craziness there. If they beat tomorrow 23-20 against the Niners, then I guess you could talk about the Chargers. Michael Reyes, thank you for tuning in. Reyes says,
okay, I'll tell you what, Bobby. Bobby. If I'm close with my score at 37,
yes, sir,
means you think I'm unrealistic, you won't be able to say I'm Homer Boy anymore. And you won't be able to say I'm unrealistic anymore if they score 37 tomorrow. Bet?
Not to call you unrealistic this season for the rest of the season?
No, you can't call me unrealistic no more if they score 37 tomorrow.
I go with this season was realistic. That the Fins would be 10-7. The season's not over yet, Evan. Chiefs.
Yeah, you said they'd be 10-7.
I did. The season's not over yet, but I now say it's 12-5.
Could be right.
I could be. The Chiefs said, Michael Reyes, who's tuning in, which I enjoy, is more on your side, Fish Tank, and he brings up a good point. The Chiefs got 44 points on the 49ers, and like I said earlier, the Dolphins' offense is closer to the Chiefs. So that could go in your favor. And the 49ers, which you have said, have played nobody this year good. So that's Michael Reyes. Thank you for tuning in, Michael. And then the Dolphins Realtor, Tua puts up 34, can put up 34 on them. 49ers held to 17th offense and strip sack for 7. 6-8 Miami safety makes the difference. Could be. So, hey, listen, it's a very big game tomorrow. Emotions are high. We want the Dolphins to go be the number 1 seed. That's my prayer. I want to play at Hard Rock throughout the whole playoffs. But you can't catch the Chiefs until you play the Niners. It starts tomorrow. Fish Tank has it 37-29. He believes that it's the Dolphins can take the Niners. It's the Chargers he's concerned with because of how much fight the Dolphins might have to put up against the Niners. But it starts tomorrow. I have it 24-21 Niners tomorrow. It doesn't mean Miami's a pretender. It means Dolphins are still very much contenders. If they get blown out, then that's a different conversation, but that's not going to happen. But anyway, Fish Tank, if you had to give a review, 1 star to 5 stars for that place you're at, food, entertainment, where you're at, how you feeling about it?
I feel good just sitting outside enjoying myself. Everybody here is having a good time. You can hear them, right?
Yes, I do. 1 star,
Yeah,
5
and
stars,
they're all
4.5.
like Dolphins fans, whether they want to be or not.
There you go. There you go. Would you give them 5 stars? How many stars would you give them?
You know, as far as happiness goes here, I'm having a great time. I'm really
Perfect.
having a great time. The wings are great. You know, I had the meatball sub too, and that was awesome. The service here is fantastic. They come and continuously check and make sure everything's all right. And of course, everything's Dolphins logoed around the whole bar. So
There you go.
come on out and visit the Hideaway, folks.
Yeah, that's right. When you go down there, go check it out. Go visit Hank. He'll meet you there. But anyway, guys, thank you all for tuning in with the 41-minute mark. I got to let Hank go enjoy the rest of his day as he gets prepared for tomorrow. Of course, he's not traveling because the Dolphins are in San Francisco. But there you have it. Huge game tomorrow, Fish Tank. Dolphins versus the 49ers. It starts tomorrow, the run for the playoffs and where Miami sits in the playoffs. Guys, you've been watching Fitz Talk today on the Fitz Talk Sports Network. You can catch Hank again. He'll react live. He'll react to the game. He will give his raw reaction 48 hours before on Tuesday night on the Fins bandwagon with the one and only Evan Posner. That is.
Hey, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
I would wish you well on your score for the game, but I'm not.
I hope not. I hope I'm wrong.
I'm not.
Right. I hope you're right.
I just want to point that out that I'm not.
I get it. So let's talk about what we have on store for today. You got Digging in the Trenches with former Houston Oiler, Dr. Reggie Brown, with JPF scout Justin. They're talking Dolphins. Then tomorrow, after the game, you have the raw reaction of Evan Posner, Justin, and myself for the Dolphins versus the 49ers. I hope I'm eating crow and the Dolphins blew out the 49ers, and it's great. I will happily do so. Monday, you got the Beer and Sports podcast. They have moved to Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. Tuesday, Real Talk, Fitz Talk with Dolphins Thirsty Rob and Steve Malloy. If you're thirsty for Dolphins content, go to dolphinsthirsty.com. And every morning on his channel, you have Dolphins Daily with Thirsty and Justin. Wednesday, Fast Break at 8 o'clock Eastern. No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast at 9 o'clock. Thursday, got Bottoms Up, Fins Up with Mike the Hebrew Hammer and his Pops at 8 o'clock. Then Huddle Up and Wait at 9. And, of course, that's our shows for the week. So we appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, and always fins up. See you tomorrow.